All right, so on further inspection, now with the gas tanks taken off, I mean, I knew that there was some oddball stuff going on up under the front here with a loose switch. You see a house wiring nut there, crimped connections, no solder, no shrink tube, everything loose, zip tie special. I had seen down between the tanks this kind of wire pack that goes in holes, out of holes, down through to a former distribution block. That was kind of interesting. Got a wire here that goes down, presumably to the coil. Wires going in the backbone. Wires coming out of the backbone. Here's where I could really see some issues at the beginning, right? So just inspection of the bike, it had a pop-up like a sprung seat. And just lifting up the seat, you can see wires that got pinched. You're seeing copper there, rust. Some of the wires are actually broken apart. So that's not the greatest. You can see here that it's been flat spotted. So obviously something was pushing on this wire here on top of this tube. We tried to put some foam in there to try and ease it up. But yeah, foam instead of actually grinding down this lip. This lip is sharp as crap. And foam was the solution there, not the greatest. And as a result, you get stuff like this, you know, exposed copper wire. It gets worse. That's brilliant. Going to Lord knows how old of a circuit breaker. More wires here just jumbled together with crap electrical tape. Things coming out. This was, what was that? That was for the ground side. This was grounding wire. This went through the rear fender to the rear brake light. So the whole whip that went up underneath the rear fender was just kind of electrical tape together. Kind of old school way of doing, I guess. So in inspection, right? So if you see this kind of thing, just know that there are probably more electrical gremlins in the bike than you anticipate, no matter what. And so when you see these things, you start to wonder, okay, like what else am I going to find, right? This bike did have electric start at some point, so it had the key switch and a push button for the electric start. It is currently kick only. The electric start has been omitted, removed. So there's a bunch of wiring here that goes kind of back down the back of the housing here. I'll take this off, expose all that wiring, figure out what's going on. But then you see stuff like this, right? So you're like, what in the heck is this wire? It's a fabric wrap, so it's not a shrink tube, which is fine. You follow it, and it seems loose. You follow it, and if I pull a little bit, look at that, blue and white, and it goes right up in back to the coil. So the coil wires going from the coil to the ignition. I'll talk about that separately. But this bike has a Dyna S dual fire ignition. It's just kind of loose hanging here, I don't know, by the foot clutch chain and by the primary belt. I mean, yeah, that seems safe and logical, just to have this crap flying around everywhere. So that's makes a lot of sense. What else? We come up, talk about this. Got a wire here, also going down to the coil. Spark plug wires, they're making an interesting knot. This bike is a dual plug shovel head. You got plugs on the spark plugs on the other side, and they're not currently hooked up. There's not currently a coil for it, but I got new coils that'll go in that'll let me run all four. So when you see a bike like this and you start to see frayed wires, you start to see stuff dive in and out of frames without any grommet, without any protection, and you see pieces of foam used, you can pretty much guarantee that the person who wired it might have had good intentions but didn't really know what they're doing. When I see something like this, and I can tell you right now, my plan of attack is to essentially strip all of it out and start from scratch. So coming up here, I'll show you what I look for to at least document some of the parts and pieces to know what I need to reconnect. So stay tuned for that.